Welcome once again to the PokerStars Arena, hosting the Spring Championship of Online Poker, and it is super high roller time, the biggest buy-in event of the series. $25,000, event 44 high, which had 47 entries, a prize pool of more than $1.15 million, a first prize of more than 440 grand, and 6 players remaining, playing down to a winner tonight. We're cards up all the way. Hello everyone, it's James Hartigan alongside Joe Stapleton.
Hello my babies.
Joe, super high rollers keep me rocking all night. Are you ready for some high stakes action?
I'm ready for some high stakes action, tripping over my words. That's how ready I am because, man, oh man, this 25K, I'm super excited because it seems like we're starting with even fewer players than we usually do.
That's true, just 6 remaining. Let's get to the final table and see who's still in contention for the trophy and first prize of more than 440K. And here is your first hashtag fun fact of the day. 4 of the 6 finalists are also going deep in the medium version of event 44, the 2K. So they are double tabling right now. They did play into the money last night, Joe, with 47 runners, 6 got paid, hence playing down to 6 rather than 9. So all guaranteed at least 49K, but clearly not all necessarily in profit yet because we've got, just checking the lobby, 3 players, Voskob, Pass 72 and WushuTM, who are in for 2 bullets each.
Yikes.
WushuTM
I feel like maybe
Thomas Mulaka.
I feel like maybe we should bring in some barely profitable experts today.
Well, Griffin will be joining us later on. I think he fits the bill.
To honor the barely
oh
boy.
The flopped flush for Nacho 124441, who is the chip leader coming into the final, playing from Mexico. And Wushu with the jack high flush draw and ace high, betting close to 100K. And board pairs on the turn. Nacho now an 84% favorite. Thomas Mulaka, a player who already has a scoop title, $7.6 million in live earnings. And of course, playing from Austria.
And does not know how badly he needed a club.
Yeah. And Nacho likely to add more chips to that big stack that dominates this 6-handed final table of the super high roller. Bets 185K on the river. Wushu with just ace high.
I mean, this is something,
Makes
yeah.
the call.
We see, we're going to see a much different final table today than we saw yesterday. Yesterday, it was a final table full of, less experienced players, we'll call it. The heads-up match we saw, we weren't really going to see a lot of ace-high hero calls. And when you're playing with players of this caliber, those are the sorts of decisions that you have to make. Some of the time, that hero call would be correct.
Well, we just already referenced that Griffin will be joining us later on. Right now, Sam Grafton is with us on stream. And at this point, this is where the squid's going to tell me that that was an unfair animation and that was a totally standard call from Wushu.
Yeah, I mean, obviously these guys really protect themselves, take a lot of account of pot odds, figure where they are in their range. Obviously, we saw Wushu call really quickly. So for him, he felt like ace-jack, having a club, having the kind of nutty ace-high. He certainly beats all bluffs. He felt like it was a standard call. I don't know. I perhaps might have taken a little bit longer about it, but, we defer to Thomas in this situation. He's going to know what his own range looks like.
So Sam, we already know that Brazil have won a ton of titles, and we'll get an update on Howard in about 20 minutes time on what number they're on exactly right now. We have got one Brazilian player at this final table, and that is Rodrigo Celoan, a player who I think we had on our feature table during our EPT Prague coverage recently.
Yeah, great guy. He's going to be put to the test here. Mulaka actually going for the subtle sizing, so he'll pay for that. I thought with the club there's some chance Mulaka goes big there. Yeah, Selwyn, actually really lovely guy. Played with him a lot over lockdown. And then a lot of the Brazilians, Seiji, Nerd Guy, Selwyn, all have started coming to the EPTs. We actually played heads up in a big 25k in Prague, which he came out victorious in, I think his first big live title. And he's someone that's really flown up the ranks, right, from, playing a more mid-stakes level. I really wasn't even that aware of him. And then through that period of lockdown when everyone was playing so much poker, he got great results, and now mixing it up very comfortably with the best in the world.
I guess the key question to you as someone who plays high-stakes tournaments, is there anyone at this final table who you don't know, who you don't recognise?
Yeah, I don't know N. Voskov 1986, whether that's someone more of a recreational nature. See, this sort of high-stakes tournament he may well just be an amazing cash game player who I'm just not aware of. Exactly keep completely abreast of who the cash game guys are.
Well, this is what we have on Voskov, courtesy of StatTrick. Playing from Latvia, 450k in PokerStars earnings, has only played 8 tournaments since 2017. And their best ever online finish came early this week, second place in a 2K scoop event, which was a 6-max PKO for 51.5 grand.
Oh, brilliant.
James,
so they're on the... Yeah, go ahead, Joe.
I mean, Sam said it could be a big cash game player. Maybe it's Tom Dwan, James.
No, we've already established that Voskov is playing from Latvia, and don't do Latvia.
Yeah. I mean, maybe it's someone just on the spin massively, getting second place for 50k and just being like, well, I guess I don't know exactly what bankroll management it is, but the tournament's 25k. I have 50k in the account. Maybe that, it might be breaking bankroll management slightly, but I guess I could flick it in. So good for them.
Is anyone playing at 25k adhering to strict bankroll management rules? Really?
I don't know. I mean, a few of these guys got a few bob. Even more than you. High stakes poker. It's got a great ring to it, by the way.
I've been pushing it for years.
High stakes action, though, is something you don't want to. It would break the terms and condition of Twitch streaming if we expose the audience to that. Here we, of course, have the great man Pascal Lafrancois, fresh from a victory in the 50k in EPT Monaco, put together a whole host of results out there. And of course, we saw him on the stream finishing second in the WCOOP main event, had that battle with Crazy Lissy, could have gone either way. Obviously, someone that's been doing it at the very top level for a full decade. Here, second pair against top pair, a very delicate situation to negotiate. Nacho going to feel really comfortable here with the backdoor flush draw.
And does indeed pick up the flush draw.
Yeah, and it's going to be a good card for Pass. It's just going to freeze up the action. Pascal going to have a lot of ace-jack, ace-10, and the like in the check-back range. So Nacho not able to bet the turn. Even on this river, it's quite close whether you can go for value. With the 7 kicker, has Pascal got a hand like an ace-5 of clubs or something? Nacho might go for 10% here. Oh, and actually, very confident sizing. Really a little bit surprised at that. Nacho is someone with a cash game background. And look how good this value bet is in actuality. Almost like you can see Pass's cards. And Pass is going to be a little bit shocked and pays.
Oh, wow.
Wow. So what a great start to this final table for Nacho. Came in as the chip leader. 4.3 million now as the blinds go to 35,000, 70,000. 30-minute clock at the final table of this super high roller. So 28 minutes still to run on this level. That's double coop.
Sorry, we're all talking at once. As you highlighted, Hardskin, I just want to dwell on that a moment, though. Is just, we do see these amazing things when we watch something like a 25K. I think very few players would have had the confidence to value bet the king with the overcard out there for such a big sizing and get so much value. So Nacho showing their abilities there. And Wushu,
that's what I wanted to comment on. I think I've just been watching too many super high roller final tables, too many 10K online, 5K online final tables where, you know, everyone looks at river pot odds and says, okay, I only have to be right. This, oh boy.
All in and a call. King Jack versus Queens. Wushu at risk. And that queen on the turn. The 9 on the river. The full house for Nacho. This great run continues as they eliminate Thomas Mulaka in 6th place. WushuTM cashing out for $49,362. So a slight loss because Wushu was in for 50K.
Anyway, to wrap it up, if you're a regular poker player out there like me, there's lots of stuff you can learn from watching super high rollers. Maybe not as many river calls as they make. The people you're playing against aren't going to be as balanced as these people are. You don't have to be like, I'm getting a great price here, I can call with third pair. They usually have it on our level. That's all I'm saying.
We've got a domination situation ahead of us here. MalakaStyle with ace-king, Pascal Lefrancois with ace-queen, and I think I'm right in saying that Malaka is the short stack right now. Juan Pardo is the low man at the table.
Yeah, bad spot for Pascal here. Ace-queen going to be very, very strong, even against a tightish cut-off opening range.
Yeah, and this is a great spot for Juan Pardo to get the double up through Pascal Lefrancois. Ace-king holds, and now Pascal becomes the short stack with 710K, around 10 big blinds with 5 players remaining.
Yeah, and I think this is the product of the fact that 6 were paid. This bubble went on an awfully long time last night. I had it up on the corner of my table, watching these guys battle it out against each other, kind of trying to observe how they play and pick up a few things myself. And the bubble went on for a very extended period. See Nacho, the main beneficiary of that, amassing this giant stack. But it took a long time for VBV to bust. So stacks are short, and the money is going to go in here a little bit more often. With the style of poker these guys play, and just, you know, so many people being on 10 big blinds, 20 big blinds.
So Juan Pardo is a Spanish pro, but is playing from Andorra, which I think is what Ramon does when he is grinding scoop as well. Has 3.9 in live earnings, but is one of those players who has their online results hidden, so we don't know.
Yeah.
Step 2, question mark, question mark, question mark.
Yeah, very, very strong player, obviously, Malaka. Fearsome to play against at the table, very, very aggressive, and very comfortable at these stakes. Plays very high for an extended period of time now.
So I think we established that no one was in for more than 2 buy-ins. So everyone is now guaranteed to at least make some money, with the next player out getting $76,472.
Correction, no one who's made it to this point was in for more than 2 buy-ins.
Oh, yeah. Oh. European 3.
NASA.
Yeah.
3.
9-8 in the small, ace-10 in the big.
Pascal with this amazing Sam Chatier avatar, one of the, I mean,
this drove me nuts.
Tables.
Sure, you referenced earlier on. You referenced earlier on, Sam, that we saw Pascal Lefrancois at the final table of the W Coupe main event, a second place finish worth more than $1 million. And throughout that W Coupe coverage, Joe had to keep correcting himself, kept referring to Pascal as Sam, because you're just looking at that picture thinking, oh, it's Sam Chartier.
Yeah, and this is a very interesting limp call here from Pascal, and he's flopped very, very strongly. Perfect bluff candidate, you would imagine.
Is he?
Selwan with the quick check back, and Pass is going to...
Would he have check
go on.
raised on the flop had he had the opportunity?
Yeah, I think so. I think we just check jam this, and for the times when Selwan's just got a king 2 or a 10-2 or something like that. And perfect river for Pascal. Perfect river.
Rivers the straight, and Selwan with a piece of this now. Second pair top kicker. Pascal with less than pot behind, pretty much goes for it all.
Yeah, and Selwan recognizing he just has a bluff catcher. Worst 10s don't really take this line. This would be an amazing fold. Very hard to fold when you improve on the river. What hands does Pascal have to bluff like this? King 8 or something like that?
Yeah, I don't see a lot of... Oh, he did call.
Yeah, and that's going to change the situation once again. Now, Selwan becomes the short stack as our chip leader picks up ace-5 suited.
Ooh, suited. Which is artisanal.
And these little intricacies are very, very interesting to me there. There, Selwan had the offsuit ace. I think a lot of players would have elected to shove, but raise, trying to induce a limp re-raise from worse, from a hand like ace-2 or ace-3 or a king X suited. And Pascal snuck in there, was able to realize some equity with a hand that I think a lot of people would even fold to the ISO, got there on the river, and it's a big swing from Selwan to Pass. Because of the way that hand played out. Of course, very unlucky for Selwan. Perfect river for Pascal.
Yeah, and a domination rotation situation here with Voskov pairing their queen on the flop, value betting the river for 189k. Nacho with just ace high.
Not gonna call. Oh wait, hold on. We've seen a ton of hero calls already. What am I talking about? Okay, someone finally folded.
Not this time. So Selwan playing 11 big blinds. I'm calling it, Joe. Selwan's in the danger zone.
Danger zone!
And that is a committing raise with king 10. Nacho's got the spraggy, ace-7 offsuit.
It's like we've been watching a game of Screw Your Neighbor and everyone keeps giving their dollar to the player to the right.
The shove and the call, and Selwan is ahead now with a 10 on the flop and a 10 on the river. Selwan gets the double up through Nacho, but Nacho retains the strong chip lead with close to 4 million.
And it continues.
Does pull him back. I mean, we can just see now against Mulaka, if Mulaka were to double through Nacho, see, that's a big eventuality. The chip leads, they switch places or whatever. Whereas he did have that big gap, which is so nice to be able to wield as the chip lead, where, if the worst case scenario happens, you still retain the chip advantage at the table. So Nacho going to have to tread a little more carefully than we've seen thus far.
Yeah.
Quite nice for us as viewers, with everyone getting a bit above 20 big blinds. It means we will see some play for a while with these great players.
Yeah, it's a good observation, Sam. Mulaka, Pass, Selwan, all on around the same stack right now. Meanwhile, Bald 42 querying why ace-7 off is called the Spraggy. What did Spraggy win with ace-7 off? Oh, he didn't win with it. He punted off with it. That's why it's called the Spraggy.
He won our affection.
Yeah, and Pass, by the way, with a very limited time bank there. Not sure whether that's because it carries over from yesterday or if there was a spot we didn't see or I've forgotten about where he ran the time bank down. But really tough playing on a difficult final table. Mulaka picking up the wheel draw here. May feel like he's too high in his range to fire again, but might try and clear out exactly this kind of hand, a king 6, a king 10, firing again. Just feels he's got too many other hands, 6-8s, 7-8s, club draws and the like to bluff with, and for that reason checks over. Don't want to take king high, I guess, to try and bluff other king highs.
Got him.
Yeah, big outdraw on the river.
The rotation.
Gin card.
Is Malaka going to go for a very wafer thin value bet? Doesn't, and will be happy to pick up the 700k.
Absolutely. And now we have the sailboats for Nacho, pocket fours, ace-8 suited on the button for Mulaka, and kings in the big blind for Celowan. What fun is going to ensue here?
Yeah. And Nacho's just electing to fold fours, being sensitive to the stack sizes behind him. Bad card removal. You see this a lot from the top tournament players in difficult lineups.
Opens to 140k. Rodrigo Celowan.
Yeah, probably going to have some sort of 3-bet sizing, not a jam from this stack. And Mulaka with the suited ace. Don't imagine we're going to see a fold. Question of jam or call. Could be wrong about that. But no, it does elect to
All
jam.
in. Celowan calls and is ahead. Fades the ace, fades the 8, gets the full double up. So now we do have a short stack again, and it's MalakaStyle, playing around 500k.
Again.
Yeah, and just an indication of how tough and strong these guys play against each other. Realizing Celowan very, very polarized in that spot, and the ace, a potent blocker to arrange it. It's just really aces and kings, and maybe a little bit of queens.
Yeah.
Piled it in, and couldn't get there.
And that double up for Rodrigo Celowan, Sam, has moved him within touching distance of Nacho.
Yeah, absolutely. He was down to a bowl of rice just a minute ago. King 10 hitting the trip 10s against Nacho's ace high call. Yeah, big swing. Celowan very much in contention again. A lot of action, actually, since we started the broadcast. You know, we've only lost one player, but a tremendous amount of all-ins.
Agreed. Well, Celowan had a lock on this on the turn. Is Nacho going to try something funky on the river?
I think you take the A-high showdown here. Okay, I was just joking, but it looks like...
Well, they're now pretty even at the top. Then you got Voskov sitting on around 2.5 million, Pascal Lefrancois with 1.4 million, and MalakaStyle is the short stack with fewer than 10 big blinds.
Yeah,
Has
and
posted here with King 8.
Pass just deciding whether he wants to open the King Queen or let there be something of more likely to be a collision between Nacho and Mulaka if he folds, but does feel the King Queen too strong to fold and might get a defend here from Mulaka. Lot easier to realize equity from a short stack, but elects to fold, realizing the strength of Pascal's range. And we see it was absolutely dominating. Really nice, by the way, from Mulaka there. Can be very, very tempting to try and flick it in off a short stack and spike something, but realizing Pass can be very strong in that spot and folding as a result. Very, you know, as we'd expect from this kind of buy-in. You know, really, really strong poker. Technically sound poker.
Queens for the short stack. Not sure Mulaka's going to get any action here, though.
Yeah, so nice off a short stack to be firing in with queens, knowing you can get called by worse. I think shove is the play here, rather than... Oh, no, goes for a min raise. Yeah, really, really interesting.
Nice try.
And that brings the first session to a close. One elimination, Wushu out in fifth, Nacho still with the chip lead as we reach the first break. 5 minutes before action resumes at the Super High Roller final table. This 25k MTT being one of the 318 tournaments that make up the Spring Championship of Online Poker. Suffice to say, we can't stream them all, but we can bring you the headline numbers and the biggest stories from the series. That's right, it's time for a stat attack from our Scoop correspondent, aka our man from the PokerStars blog. He's got the looks, he's got the brains, he's Howard Swains. So Howard, we saw Finton's big win on Monday. 24 hours later, another member of Team Pro has claimed a Scoop trophy.
Yes, they have. Amazing. It was Ramon Kalilas, the PSPC champion. So Ramon won. He won the 1K Deep Stacks event for 60K. I mean, he's really gone from strength to strength since winning the PSPC. Yeah. Sometimes big winners like that sort of vanish, but he's really been really prominent. And then now winning a Scoop, it just goes to show that his game is really progressing, getting better every day.
All right, well, we watched Nutshell take down the Sunday Million last night, and I don't think any of us noticed that he had already cracked a title this series.
Yeah, I had to do a double take myself, actually, but thankfully that's why I've got my big spreadsheet. Yeah, so the guy, Andres Vega, is his real name, Nutshell Online. He's having a brilliant scoop. He won a $11 PKO last week for 8K, right. And then he took down that huge Sunday Million for 211K. I like to think that he kind of invested some of the winnings from that first win into this Sunday Million. So he's on this sort of like $11 spin up. He became like the fourth double champion of Scoop, and there was another one last night as well called Modzilla PL, Canadian player. He won a 215 six-max PKO after winning a 320 no limit last week. So we've got 5 double champions now.
Wow.
All right, well, as long as we're talking multiple victories, I actually have these Post-it notes. I'm kind of famous for them with things written on them. And the first thing I ever wrote was pads equals value on a pad. We should probably discuss pads, I think.
Yeah, you are, of course, talking about Patrick Leonard, pads 1161. We can't go a Coop without talking about him. I noticed that he was sort of sniffing around the leaderboards, and then yesterday he won a 6+ tournament, a 530 buy-in 6+ event. It's kind of funny because he was like being a bit skeptical about 6+ on Twitter, and then he went and won it. That's his 6th career Scoop title, and that has also put him top of the overall player of the series leaderboard at the moment.
Oh, wow, and of course he was a contender last year as well. We'll see how that one develops. I just realized, Howard, you haven't given us the headline numbers yet. Where do things stand?
Okay, quickly then, we've had 481,000 entries, prize pools of $33 million. That's from 129 completed tournaments. Winners have got 5.2 million, and there's more going on right now, of course.
Yeah, I mean, I was going to say the numbers get bigger every day, but that's kind of how it works. Anything else we need to know from the last 24 hours?
6 events for Brazil, their biggest single-day haul so far. And let's have a shout-out for Georgina James, GJ Reggie. Yes. She made the first final table of her Scoop career. It's her biggest ever online cash, and she was totally thrilled. So it's great to see her breaking through. So watch her stream as well, see if she's going to get there again.
Absolutely. Well, we had GJ and Pi host the replay on Twitch this afternoon, and they can now both call themselves Scoop 2022 finalists. So Brazil, is it 28 titles now, Howard?
Yeah, that's it, 28. And so they're nearly getting close to 3 times as many as anybody else because the UK's got 11. It's just, it's over. We said that almost on the first day, and now it really is.
So ridiculous. Okay, we will check in with you on the podcast this week, and you'll be back with us on stream on Monday. But for now, thank you.
Thanks. Cheers. Bye-bye.
That podcast recorded tomorrow, released on Friday as we go back to the final table of the 25k Super High Roller. 5 players remaining. competing for a first prize of more than 440k and the Scoop Trophy. Joe's going to take a break. Sam Grafton's still with us. And Sam, we are staging a Griff Graf reunion because Griffin Benj is in the house as well, ladies and gentlemen.
Hey everyone, how's it going?
Hey, buddy.
It's my favourite combo of any stream.
High stakes action, you've got to get Griffin. And look at this from Mulaka. He opened with the kick queens. And because he's playing this strategy where he is raising his strongest hands off this very short stack, feels like he can try and sneak one through with the blocker as well. And you know, very nice to be just chipping up above the 10 big blinds. And this is going to be a big clash here with Nacho with a very easy shove with the King 7 suited.
And straight draw, flush draw. Oh, fades it. And Mulaka gets the double up. And that means we have a new chip leader at the final table. Rodrigo Celoan is now in the catbird seat, Sam.
Yeah, love that.
Yeah, pretty impressive what we've seen from MalakaStyle so far on this final table. You know, losing most of their chips there, and then you mentioned the King 8 fold against the under the gun open, and then sort of establishing this strategy with the min raising on the short stack, able to get that through with the Ace 8, and then finds the fortuitous double, and now right in there to compete for top 3.
Yeah, it's Pasu is back to the short stack.
Celoan up to 3.66 million. After that double up for MalakaStyle, Pascal Lefrancois becomes the low man at the table. Not super short stack though. 1.2 million.
Yeah, and so we have a Brazilian, a Canadian, a Latvian, a Spaniard. Nacho playing out of Mexico, but do we have some sense of his nationality, James?
We don't. Literally know nothing about Nacho at all. And I guess you are hinting that Nacho may be playing from Mexico but might not be Mexican, in the same way that MalakaStyle is Andorran but not.
I mean, on the other hand, Nacho, I mean, it's a Mexican name, right? Or maybe slang, like, you know, shortened name or something like that. So, and this is a little bit... Yeah, I mean, Selwan obviously did have the best hand on the flop. Sort of sends that bet out, trying to get called by an ace-king high or ace-queen high. Look for a bit of protection, value. And now, can Nacho go for value? Went for a very thin value bet before. See, this is top pair, compromised somewhat by the run-out. Giving it real consideration, and does go for 2/3. And so I'm going to be a bit confused about this. If Nacho was only value betting at 6, but feels like 3's very low in his range. So, wow.
Oh, huge cooler here. Ace-king suited for Nacho. Aces for MalakaStyle. And Juan Pardo set for yet another double up, having been in the hyper danger zone just an orbit ago.
Yeah, this is an amazing spot to find yourself in. Nacho, ace-king suited, opening a lot as one of the chip leaders. Such a strong, strong hand on the hijack. Hijack will be looking to shove for value.
Just the one spade. And it's over on the turn. MalakaStyle gets another double up and is now the chip leader. Pretty much tied at the top with Rodrigo Celoan as Nacho drops down to 1.5 million. And just to echo what you said during that first session, Sam, during the first 25 minutes of play, we are seeing the chips moving around. We're seeing plenty of all-in coups.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, really, really, really tough for Nacho. Doubling up Mulaka twice. Awful start to this hour of play.
Saw the quick fold from Voskov there of the King Jack. Just didn't imagine to have much maneuverability against passes. You know, pretty strong open there. But pass getting the best hand folded.
Yeah, and
Would you have called there, Sam, King Jack?
No, you kind of need the reason the ace is so powerful. Wow, Nacho read not maybe a little bit of frustration there from Nacho. A little uncharacteristic of how we often see these finals play. He's going to have his own approach, if indeed it is a he, but a little surprised to see that. Yeah, I think the King and Jack is not as good as it looks because exactly of where passes raise folds are coming from. The raise folds tend to be Broadway, and so you want the ace blocker to block the aces, ace king, and the like, and have the over to kings or queens when you get it in. The King Jack is the bluff raises are still good hands, right? And they tend to be like King Queen, Queen Jack, King 10 suited and the like. Exactly the type of hand Pass had. So for that reason, I think it's quite a good fold on a final table.
Mm-hmm.
So Pascal Lefrancois still the shortest stack at this five-handed final table with 20 bigs. Blinds going up, by the way, in 7 minutes' time. Malaka with the snowmans.
Num num. Num num.
Calls Voskov's raise in position. Seloan with King Jack of diamonds. Squeeze potential here? Nope, just calls. Oh, top set for Malaka.
Things getting better and better for the Spaniard. Yeah, and a little bit of it, I mean, I might be playing results here, but a little bit undisciplined C-bet here. Malaka going to have a lot of pocket pairs, not going to be inclined to fold a king-queen suit, king-queen of spades, king-jack of spades, ace-5 of spades either. And for that reason, I think that we have to control our frequency a bit more when we have clubs. See on the, yeah, and Malaka feeling like this C-bet three-way going to be strong and elects to raise.
Wow. Just 7 minutes ago, MalakaStyle had a sub 10 big blind stack. Juan Pardo now chip leader. 3.7 million at the start of this hand, opening with fives. Voskov with queen 8 in the big blind. And almost a flip post-flop.
Yeah, and you see Malaka's confidence in his own play here. We saw Nacho fold fours in a similar spot as chip leader a moment ago. Does open the fives, and Voskov with the super straight here. Obviously does lose to King Queen, but won't be that much of a concern.
Oh, come on,
So
guys. We
what
want
would
to
the King
see.
Queen be? The Supernova straight?
Yeah, we need to see a 7-card straight. That's when the fortune bonus pays out.
Yeah, and Malaka, you know, good card distribution, but really beginning to take a little bit of control of this final table. Now, just separating himself a little bit from Selwan. And interesting spot. I don't know whether we want the offsuit aces or the suited aces to 3-bet bluff here.
Two pair for MalakaStyle. 93% equity, near enough.
Yeah. A board that's very good for the pre-flop raiser.
Little
So,
10 of spades to
firing.
make things interesting.
Yeah, we do always like a sweat, don't we?
Yeah, and I think this is an even more exciting card. On a spade, someone might have too much equity and elect to check back. But here, a gut shot can really put pressure on every king, fold out every 7. Might go big here on the turn with this gut shot. Particularly folding out Queen Jack is very, very important when you have a hand like Jack 9.
Does go big. 455 into 595. Mulaka still a huge favourite with aces and sevens.
Yeah, and Mulaka probably going to want to play his range passively on a board which is so good for Selwan, and where Selwan will have bluffs exactly like this.
Queen of clubs puts a potential flush out there. Mulaka checks a third time. Is Selwan going to empty the clip?
Yeah, I know that Selwan would rather have a club in hand, but what worse hand do you have than Jack 9? Jack 10 has come in. Queen Jack is a pair. Will Selwan go for it here? Does far again.
Gets called immediately. Snap called. And MalakaStyle up over 5 million. Really building that strong chip lead now as Selwan drops down to just over 20 big blinds.
Yeah, and this is a more commanding chip lead than even Nacho had at the beginning of play. I mean, he has absolutely everyone covered. And also, there's no real differential between them. It's the absolute sort of nightmare for the short stack where you're not just competing with one player or something like that, but you're all, you know, the same stack and going to hand money to each other. I don't think we'll see Pass fold the Jack 9 here versus the polarized open. Given how he's played thus far, very, very delicate spot. But yeah, and Mulaka with 5 high. But Pass going to shove most aces pre.
Yeah, exactly. But does slow down.
Yeah, elected to take a more subtle line. Maybe we would want to check King 5 off, pocket queens on the flop. Going to take this 5 deuce into the delay line. Can still fold out Jack 9 or something like that on the turn. Queen 8 suited, Queen 8 of hearts can wait till the turn to fold it. And even a sign of Malaka's confidence. Maybe going to take this all the way to the river before trying to bluff. And Pass in a bit of a weird position. Would rather have an 8-10 or a 9-10 or something that can't make the nuts. And look at this. Pass with Jack high. Mulaka with 5 high.
You know what we want to see? We want to see the bold 5 high bluff followed by the awesome Jack high hero call. Unlikely to happen.
Oh, wow. I'm really surprised at this from Mulaka. I'm really, really surprised at this, actually.
Yeah, finding the bottom of the range, maybe just thinking that Pass would be willing to call with, I mean...
Yeah, maybe a bit of history between... Pass is thinking of bluffing here now, by the way.
Yeah. As the blinds go up to 40-80. And just to highlight, guys, that we do have 2 of the remaining finalists still in contention for the medium as well. So the 2K version of Event 44 is down to the final 11 players. MalakaStyle currently 8th in chips, and Pass 72 currently 3rd in chips in that event.
Of course.
Oh, my days. Nacho shoving the 20 big blinds here. And disastrous.
A domination situation, and King Queen does not improve, and we get another KO. It is the player who came into this final table as chip leader who bows out in 5th place. Nacho cashing for 76.5 grand as MalakaStyle. Juan Pardo increases his chip lead.
Yeah, absolutely amazing turn of events there. From first to worst for Nacho. And again, I don't want to be too critical. These final tables are very difficult to play. Everyone has their own approach. Maybe just a little bit of frustration at how things had gone for Nacho. We saw that rejam of the 9-8 suited from the small blind, and then the open shove of King Queen, not wanting to face a flat from Mulaka or a potential 3-bet bluff or a shove from pocket 4s or some such. Maybe it is the correct play, but certainly high variance indeed to take that shove spot, and really disappointing for the beginning of the day chip leader, who was huge stack with 5 left to finish in 5th.
Absolutely.
I don't mind being critical. I think that That shove was just. I mean, you know, you're in a position to really fight for second place. Getting fifth there for 76 grand when, you know, you're all around the same amount of chips, 2 through 5.
Yeah.
I think
And-
you need
and
to
interestingly
evaluate there.
Wow. Folds the king jack suited, and Mulaka with ace queen.
Yeah, similar to the spot earlier for Voskov with king jack, but this time it's suited. This time Pass has a bit more chips. But I guess folding under the same kind of principle as we just see a call from MalakaStyle with the ace queen. So interesting stuff.
So
this
Mulaka
hand.
just feels that this raise rather than a shove from Pass is very, very polarized. It's going to either be aces, kings, queens, jacks, right? Or it's going to be, you know, a pocket pair, a strong pocket pair, or it's going to be a, you know, just some blockers. And so Mulaka beefing up their range with ace queen and probably going to check raise here.
Yeah. Always an ace on the desk, so these snowmen's no good.
Num num. Num num.
And we've
yeah,
seen
Sammy,
Pass play very tough up to this point, but eight's probably pretty low in his range, but elects to defend, kind of expecting more Mulaka to have a 6 or a bluff, not really expecting them to have these really strong aces, although I say not expecting. We'll know that that makes up a very small part of Malaka's range. Mulaka might go for half Pass's stack. Elects to check. Very tricky indeed.
And all the fans at home wondering if that diamond's going to come in for Voskov. Just me?
Come on, Griffin, you can't lose what you don't put in the middle.
And now Mulaka going to feel very comfortable with the ace queen. Will likely go for the lot here.
I'm sure these two players have a lot of history playing against each other, but just taking the scenario at face value from what we've seen on the final table, I wonder if it enters into Pass's head that, you know, this is the player that wouldn't even stab at the bottom of the range on the river there with the 5 deuce. Do I think?
Well, he's not going to know that, though, of course.
Yeah.
Right, that was only like 5 minutes
right,
ago,
because he bluffed with the jack 9. That's right.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct. Hand did not go to showdown, and the
Touché.
delay will not have caught up with them yet. 30-minute delay on the whole cards being revealed.
Yeah, I forgot that Pass had bet the river.
Yeah.
Very interesting.
Juan Pardo now playing 7.5 million. The second biggest stack is 1.8 million, which is Voskov. Pascal Lefrancois in the danger zone.
Yeah, Mulaka just deciding whether to min raise the ace-4 off or jam. Goes for the jam. No, Selwan has to call off very tightly while Pass is shorter. And Mulaka really licensed to open very, very wide. Again, considering whether we go as wide as Jack 6 off on the cutoff, think indeed we do. You know, going to put even probably force Voskov to fold the King 7 here. You just can't bluff catch down as liberally as you want, so you just need to tighten up so much pre-flop. This is a hand I think Selwan will shove. Yeah, it goes for the half stack in case Voskov goes all in and Mulaka calls. And it's just a license for Mulaka to win every hand where no one else, basically when no one else has a hand, Mulaka can win the pot. It's just a great position, dream position to be in for the chip leader. Again, each of these hands, considering, does this go into a raising range? Does this go into a shoving range? Very, not demanding when you have ace-king suited.
No, it's not. And I fear for Pascal, who's got ace-3 in the small blind here. I may feel that Mulaka's just going to shove the button or raise the button with any 2.
Yeah, Mulaka going to be polarized here, right? We know that he can just shove Queen 5 suited pre-flop. It's going to be either a very good hand or a weak hand. So there is fold equity here, and the ace is powerful.
Ace-3 all in against ace-king. Rotation on the flop, though. The 3 for Pascal Lefrancois, and it's good. Pascal doubles up through the chip leader. And now it's Celowan who's the shortest stack. But these 3 guys pretty much evens Mulaka with all the chips.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, in that instance, actually, the rotation, as you call it, of course, Hartigan, you know, almost doesn't affect Mulaka too much, but really, really bad for Selwan and Voskov, who would have loved, you know, that 60K pay jump there. Another 2 and a bit buy-ins.
Sam, I have a question from, I guess, a theory perspective. You know, when you're effectively going all in and betting half your stack with, like you said, the idea that if the other short stack goes all in and then the chip leader reshoves, you can just fold. Why is the optimal amount putting like half of your stack when you'd be folding anyway? Wouldn't it be better to put in 30% with the saying pretty much you're committed and then you can save 70% of your stack?
Hold that thought, because this is going to get big. 6s, ace-4, blind v blind.
Yeah, and if Mulaka had shoved, might have taken the play away from pass. But again, versus the somewhat polarized open.
There's a 4 on the flop. Spades. 6s hold. That is an elimination. Pascal Lefrancois bows out in 4th place. Does get a 6-figure score, but we are down to the final 3. And it's slightly one-sided, literally. Look at the right-hand side. MalakaStyle, 8.9 million. Look at the 2 players on the left. Celowan with 1.3. Voskov with just shy of 1.4.
Yeah, it's a huge, huge, huge advantage. But things going to go against Mulaka potentially here. Voskov with the incredibly strong 10s probably will elect to just limp. Oh, goes for the jam.
Mulaka calls. And 10s are holding. 10s are good. A set on the river, and Voskov doubles up. So now we have a clear 1st, 2nd, and 3rd.
Oh, but here we go. They're going quick.
Yeah,
I'm struggling to keep up the pace, and I'm conscious of the fact that Sam hasn't answered Griffin's question yet. We will come back to that at some point, even if it's after this final table is over. Celowan all in with ace-4. And is going to need Barry. There he is!
There he's there!
Good use of the Greenstein avatar, emoticon, or whatever we're calling it there. That was actually very meaningful because Selwan drawing level here with Voskov. And, you know, Mulaka having lost doubled both his opponents up. Again, huge advantage. But now if he doubles Selwan, they would actually sort of draw level, right? So having to begin to be a bit more, just a slight bit more careful, reducing slightly the Jack-6 off opens and the big shoves somewhat with the chip disparity reduced. The answer there, Griffin, is that I don't fully know. When I've tried to get solvers to do that, when I've looked at pre-flop spots, they don't actually do it. In my experience from studying, solvers don't really like to do the half shove. What you're just trying to do is create a situation. If you were to go a 3rd, it's beneficial to Voskov, right? Voskov could call wider, knowing that he can fold if the stack behind goes in. So you're balancing, like making Voskov's job difficult and the big blind's job difficult, with also allowing yourself some room to prove. Because again, if you were to go a 3rd, it's possible Mulaka could call with 6s, and if it comes ace, king, queen, 3 spades, actually fold their hand, and now you don't get the value when you have 10s, or whatever. You get some, if you were to go a bit too small, it would get a bit weird, because actually you could call some hands for a 3rd of someone's stack, and they actually fold on certain flop textures, right? So it's a very fine balance, and you know, a lot of people, I've actually remember very well a live final where someone went all in except 3 big blinds, and then 2 people went in behind, And you could just see this player, they've done this for this situation, and they had absolutely no idea what to do. Like, they were just like, well, I've done this. You could sort of see, I've done this because I see other people doing it, but now I'm left with this ridiculous mathematical, and then they just sort of flicked it in anyway, and it was like, here we go. So it's very difficult. Really creative play here from Selwan. Bluff on bluff, essentially.
So those two guys, both around the 2.5 million mark. MalakaStyle has the strong chip lead with 6.5 million and is facing the racer in the big blind with tens.
Yeah, and we've seen the power of these suited aces. We saw Malaka shove ace-8 suited versus Selwan's 3-bet in exactly this spot earlier in the day. Malaka going to be pretty polarized here, and I do believe the ace wheels shove at least some frequency here.
Yeah, it's the trend we've seen so far on this final table of, not really believing these kind of squeezes and having the power of that suited ace as the backup, and that's why we see again.
Here we go. There is an ace on the flop, a 4 on the turn, and an inconsequential greenstein to give Selwan a full house and get 30%. The double up and take the chip lead. These chips, they are removing.
What a final table. I mean, all action. Malaka, we must remember, was the extreme short stack, 5-handed, and Nacho, big stack. Nacho eliminated 5. Malaka seemingly, not just in the catbird seat, but a huge stack. Didn't seem like anyone could challenge and would just be a procession to this 25k super high roller title. But Selwan there with the aggressive 4-bet jam with the suited ace, and now into the lead. And look at this, they really do. Like, this is a bit out of line for a man of my taste. I mean, I see this a lot from these guys. I personally think that King 4 is just not a hand we want to be doing this with, but Selwan taking the aggressive action. And Malaka will be pleased to turn the open-ended straight draw more easy to navigate the turn on that card. This is when you can't use it, bro.
Outrageous.
I'm sorry, it's top. Ace on the river. It's not outrageous. Ace on the river when it matters. There's no qualification to the ace on the river.
And churlish.
Here, you can have this one instead.
Num.
Well, it is relevant.
These are
two big. Yeah, this is two big hands.
Someone's going to eat in this hand.
Yeah, Selwan incentivized to open widely here and pressurize the shortest stack.
And on 30 big blinds, you have to imagine that this is going to get in there.
And that will give us a classic race at this 3-handed final table. And Voskov would be the at-risk player with the overcards. Here we go. Hearts. Jack. And Barry Greenstein for 2-pair. And the chip merry-go-round continues. And now it's Voskov's turn to be chip leader. Meanwhile, Ace-10 versus Jacks. Here comes another one.
Wow. And now we'll see whether Selwan can control his frequency, because we talked about the power of the suited aces. Here we have Ace-10. A little bit different. Again, Malaka going to go for this polarizing 3-bet. And how do we proceed with the Ace-10? Do we shove again? Do we flat call in position? Or do we just release it? How does Selwan elect to call?
I'm sort of staring at disbelief at this table. I can't quite comprehend what we've seen over the last hour. Just how huge the pots have been, the sheer number of all-ins, the movement of the chips. It's unlike anything I've seen in a high buy-in event before.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I mean, I think it's both the product of the extended, protracted bubble scenario last night and the short stacks at the beginning. But then, I mean, we have, it's also, the bravery of these players. Every time a spot's come up where you could potentially shove a suited ace, rejam a pocket pair, or whatever it might be, these guys have gone for it. And Selwan a bit in no man's land here with the Ace-10. What properties do we have? Does this hand show down? What worse holdings do we have? A little bit strange for Selwan 1991 here. And does elect to bet, just hoping really to win it here and now. Happy if Mulaka just had an ace-4 off and is going to fold. Not necessarily going to follow through on the river, but we shall see if it were to be a jack, if it were to be a heart. Maybe. What does Selwan want to do now? Do we show down for anything here? Could we be against ace-6 of hearts? Probably not. What properties do we want to bluff? Probably don't want a heart in our hand. Really hard to maneuver. And this is a genuine tank from Selwan. Gonna maybe have Jack 10, which would be a better bluff. Goes for it, just fires it in.
Oh, wow.
And really puts... Yeah, go ahead, James.
If Juan Pardo makes this call, if Juan Pardo can find the hero with jacks here, we're heads up. No, folds it. The bluff gets through.
Yeah, absolutely. As I said, I think one of the bluffs is going to be Jack 10 there. A King Jack, perhaps. And Mulaka feeling that they've got enough strong hands that it's maybe better to even have part of the board rather than two jacks blocking Jack 10. Better to have ace 9 sort of blocker, unblocker. But credit again to Selwan's bravery.
You're going to get two bits of fun here because not only do we have artisanal sourdough,
Ooh, sourdough suited.
We have check raise.
Artisanal.
but this is a street flash board.
I thought street flash is if someone can make a straight flush.
No, it's only if there's a potential straight flush out there.
Right, okay.
Or a potential straight flush drop. Just stop trying
Sam,
to stop us from having
what
fun,
are you
Sam.
doing?
But
We're live.
no one's... I thought it was if someone's got the 8 of diamonds. I'm just
Ooh.
trying to understand
That
the...
ace on the river wasn't consequential. Don't run the animation then.
Wow.
I won't do the chop box song.
Can tell who used to be the teacher in this mix, can't you?
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow, absolute impression city around here. Love that from Griff. I mean, both of them. Unbelievable, actually. It is, by the way, such a dynamic final table. I was thinking Mulaka here with the chip lead against Voskov, the short stack. In fact, it's the other way around. It's absolutely topsy-turvy, remarkable.
I mean, we find a situation now where Malaka's the short stack again, right? I mean, not short stacked, but the shortest of the three.
Yeah, and I think some of the play that we've seen so far on this final table, I think it tells us that it really shows the kind of capability that all the players know the others have. You know, being able to make these pushes with ace-4 suited, ace-8 suited when they think that they're getting messed with. It's because nobody trusts each other on this table. They're all playing a 25K buy-in. They're all capable of making these kind of moves. So you have to push these edges with these hands that can, get there when they're wrong.
Absolutely. Although, if you were just tuning in and this was your first high-stakes final, you'd think, what are they doing? Because actually, every time someone has 3-bet the big blind, they've just had jacks, 10s, queens, kings, aces, and then everyone's just like, well, they're bluffing too much. I'm all in with my suited ace, and it's not worked out for any of them.
Exactly. But then we see a hand like the one with Selwan where, bluffing the jacks with ace-10 there. I mean, that's an incredibly advanced kind of bluff, and it's because the players are capable of this kind of thing that everyone else is kind of, keeping on their feet.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Things evening out a little bit now. Just want to highlight, obviously, I have no idea how long this final table is going to run. 10 minutes ago, I thought it was going to be over before the top of the hour. But at some point, Sam, you are going to have to leave us because you have made day 2 of a 1K that restarts at 8 o'clock?
Yeah, the 1K 6 max. So trying to get out of it for the series. Probably going to lock up 9th again as per usual. But yeah, I'll be there battling in the 6 max streets.
Do you have a stack, as they say?
Yeah, I'm always, James. I'm third in chips. So
nice.
How many are left?
40. Yeah, a little bit strange actually. Obviously, stars we've you know, everyone knows we do put on these great tournaments. That's not me being a company man, but a little bit strange that we finished with 40 left. I thought it might go a little bit deeper than that, but kind of nice because it was like 1 a.m. or something. Nice to come back fresh for the business portion of the tournament.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think people often appreciate the early finish, right? No one really wants to be grinding until 3 a.m.
Yeah, not like in the old days. When I used to like get thrown out of the gut shot at 9 a.m. and go to a breakfast place to play on my laptop to finish out the 30 rebuy. Those were the days. These kids don't know how good they've got it.
Yeah.
So another confrontation, button versus big blind. And Voskov actually, you know, the chip leader, but has been, I mean, as you point out, Griffin, past a couple of marginal spots, has actually sort of been the one that's had the sort of least variance, kind of just stayed out of the way, let everyone bash each other up, and then was the beneficiary of that 10s versus 6s. We think potentially the least experienced player at the table, unless, you know, they're playing live or playing somewhere else. And here, nailing middle set.
Num 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 num.
Num num.
See, Malaka, and goes big here. And yeah, I think this sizing just speaks of someone there's a bit less experienced in tournament poker, arguably. I think that many people would go for that sizing on the mono board. I could be wrong about that, of course. You know, say these things tentatively.
Comment from John Delano on Monday's final table. Sam, that last 9th place finish was rough. You had no cards. Every time you tried, you ran into someone actually having a hand. Hope today goes way better.
Ah, that's really generous, yeah. Obviously, it was a little bit frustrating. You get sort of anchored to that. You know, I came in 2 of 9 and was really looking forward to exciting final with Graffy there, easy with aces, really proud flop. So many great players looking to mix it up. Took that very close spot with King Queen against pocket 5s, and you know, obviously if that's the nature of tournament poker. If you win that flip, you think, great, playing for the win. I would have had a huge stack, won a big bounty. Obviously didn't win and was knocked out at 9th, but it did sting a little bit. You know, as I say, with these overnights, because you're you know, normally you'd just be happy to make a final table, but when you've gone to bed knowing you're 2 of 9, to get 9th just stings that little bit more.
Does it take any of the sting out that Finton was able to close it out and win for the red spade?
By the way, I watched him. He's absolutely amazing entertainer. I mean, to be playing such a tough final table, obviously it helped having the big stack, and he had moments to celebrate. But he was, you know, I really would recommend anyone that hasn't watched Finton to watch him online. He was dancing, he was jumping up and down, he was making big plays, big hero calls, big bluffs, and chatting with the fans. It's really, really incredible what these guys do. And as you said, James, the stacks even out somewhat. And I think it's just a feature also of Voskov perhaps being that bit less experienced. When Mulaka had the big chip lead, every pot was open, every pot was 3-bet, really applying pressure to his opponent. Voskov just taking, you see, snap folds the 10-6 off. I'm not saying, by the way, it is open on the button, but snap folds, maybe a bit more passive with the chip lead. And everyone else just a bit more, you know, Selwan doesn't want to clash with Voskov too much. Mulaka just approaching things. Can't easily shove on a 25 big blind stack. We're just having a little lull in the carnage that we've seen up to this point.
Pair of 4s versus a pair of 3s. It's all going in the middle.
Yeah, and we've seen Selwan stab very, very liberally, betting second pair or bottom pair in this exact spot on an A-side board a moment ago. Elects to check back with bottom pair this time. Have to be really careful out of position in these spots, just because it's such a dynamic board, right? If you start value betting your pairs too liberally, you get in a lot of trouble on a board where, but does let Selwan get there. And Mulaka actually going to see that as a relatively good card, quite stable now. The 4-2 go for value. See, the kicker won't play against 4-8 and the such like. And I would expect Mulaka to bet here.
Yeah, 80 into 190.
What sizing now from Selwan? $360? Something like that, maybe. Might be go a tad. Wow.
Ooh,
I was going to say a
huge,
tad big.
520.
Goes very, very big. Polarizing sizing. See, it makes sense just raising a 3. And how does Malaka want to proceed? Do we need to roll a calling frequency with 5-4? Doesn't feel that he does. Feels like he's going to have some really strong hands that slow play all that way. A 5, not a great card. As Selwan will probably take the bottom of range to bluff there and gets away from their holding.
Voskop raising small to big with king 4. Malaka folds.
Yeah, and big separation now. Malaka very clearly the shortest stack. You don't have to bow down quite as much to ICM three-handed. I see there's, if we can sort of picture that at heads up there is no ICM, and at nine-handed there is extreme ICM. It sort of degrades as you get closer to playing heads up. You can fight, because when you win pots, you're taking directly from your competitors, or 50% of your competitors at least. And Malaka going to have to be careful here, because Noskov, with this gut shot, going to have a potential check raise candidate. Would rather have a diamond or backdoor clubs. And check calls for that reason. Malaka deciding whether to bluff. Go ahead, Griff.
Yeah, just, by min betting the flop here, you're really opening up the range of what Voskov can continue with. So it's not just pairs. It's not even necessarily straight draws, and then comfortably bets big again on the turn.
Oh, ace, queen, queen, jack. Let's have some action.
Yeah, Noskov in a tricky position here against the other big stack. Goes for the 3-bet. And Malaka with queen jack of green. I think that he'll fold, yeah, just having a think about it. And this is actually a little bit difficult for Selwan, right? If we shove ace queen here, we don't actually get called by worse.
Yeah.
Well, I think we know where this is heading.
Hargan, come on, mate. You never know. Selwan could.
Yeah, you really don't.
I'm just. That's true. I just have to prepare you because we've had some pretty abysmal performances during the series. So I just need everyone to kind of give it their best. Should it be needed?
Yeah, I mean it does make sense here. Obviously, ace queen does show down for some of the pot. You're going to have some ace-5s, ace-4s that you've 3-bet that want to fold out ace-queen. The only thing is this potential club in hand. And for that reason, Fars again, allowing Voskov allowing themselves to bluff on a club river. And Selwan a bit in the hurt locker now. This might work, by the way. Selwan really considering does make a stubborn call.
And now we have the double paired board.
And now there's, I mean, I don't think Voskov can bet a bet. And I presume Selwan won't, but who does this jack favor now, by the way? I don't think Selwan will do it. What would you be trying to bluff? You'd actually be trying to bluff them off kings. And Selwan, credit to them, is having a little think. We saw them bluff the ace-10. This would be unbelievable. No, checks down.
And that means it is a chop pot. And you know what they say?
Everyone loves a chop pot. Whoa, that was
We've
good.
cracked him, Griff. It was good. That's all right. That's all right.
Why did James leave? That was so good. Did he just retire?
The last on-air moment of James Hartigan. You were here to witness history, like the day Des Lynam retired.
He always told me, James always told me that if he ever nailed it, he'd sail off into the sunset. James, are
I
you done?
prepared you and everything. I tried to build you up. I tried to give you that kind of
Sam?
Too early.
Mickey to
premature.
Rocky.
We're getting 10 out of 10s, James.
Premature, Hartigan.
The fans love us, Hartigan.
There was 3 streets to go.
They really love you.
If it had just been you and me, Griffin, it would have been perfect. But sadly,
Hey.
there was someone sandwiched between us who sabotaged that performance.
James, I often think of that a lot. If it was just the two of us, it would have been perfect.
And someone actually rivers a full house here. Probably can't value bet just because there's going to be queens, jacks, eights, the odd ace that's checked back. But Selwyn does go for the block sizing, trying to get called by king high, which they themselves had. Very, very interesting river bet. And Voskop obviously can't call, one presumes, with jack high. I mean, would be, well, I mean, does beat 8-7 of hearts, by the way. Oh my God, does call with jack high. Hartigan, where's your hero call gone wrong, by the way?
Yeah.
Come on, man. If you're going to criticize Hartigan, you need to be on it.
I was ready.
Wow.
Was
And I
waiting for you to
really,
finish speaking.
I really
Sometimes
love
takes a
these.
while.
Love these moments. It's really interesting. There's still some element of leveling in poker, right? I really feel like Selwan's river bet is actually a little bit too thin and almost a bit of out of line, having a king high and blocking the king high calls. But actually, the equilibrium's really off because Voskop doesn't even call king high, actually elects to call jack high in this exact scenario. So really, really remarkable hand there.
So those guys near enough tied for first. MalakaStyle in third place right now. We are at the 50-100 blind level and have been for 4 minutes.
Yeah, and this is the first protracted period with no big all-ins and no losses of players. The three-handed, these guys really battling it out. A bit more what we're used to on final tables. Nip and tuck, fighting for smaller pots, small river bets, you know, bottom boats getting looked up by jack high for 1/6 pot. The sort of intricacies of high-stakes poker, which we're more used to.
It's almost like everyone came into this final table having had too much orange juice. And it took an hour for everyone to just calm down and settle down. And now they're finding their natural rhythm.
Yeah, and again, I think this somewhat indicative of Voskop's approach. Got to be, I mean, probably the C-bet is fine there if you're going to defend, but Selwan, very aggressive. And remarkably enough, Selwan sort of bluff check raising to fold out, I don't know, perhaps some better king highs, although it doesn't happen that much. Sort of just wanting to take the initiative with the hands that continue. I'm going to barrel some turn cards, but actually queen high against king high. And I wonder what Voskop is going to do. Does go big and folds out the better hands.
So Voskop in #1 position, Selwan second in chips, MalakaStyle third. Three-handed in this super high roll-up, which started with 47 entries, played into the money last night, played down to the final 6. 3 eliminations so far today.
Ooh. No.
Hello. Call the police. Nobody else really has anything.
Well, Voskov might
with
think
deuces.
that they have the best hand here, based on the raise flat range and a check to this turn card, and is going to bet much bigger than I would maybe have expected, but...
Yeah, again, perhaps a little off with sizing. And Selwan might elect to just call here, knowing any worse 9 will bet the river also. Obviously, he wants to get value and deny some equity to the stronger draws. But this sizing is actually quite polarizing, even though we can see Voskov has a medium strength hand and decides to raise. Obviously, really nice to be ahead of hands like 9-10 and 9-7.
So back to a situation where Voskov and Selwan are tied for the chip lead. MalakaStyle playing just over 20 bigs right now. Queen 6. And gets shoved on. Wow.
Yeah, 21 bigs, blind on blind there.
Yeah, and Selwan might even have to call 10s here some of the time. I don't know whether that's Selwan's approach. That's actually how I would play it, but we shall see. See, 3-bet here will fold out, you know, an overcard, which is nice to do. And maybe feels that against Voskov particularly could feel a bit more comfortable, I guess, raise folding, perhaps. I guess Selwan will just worry about that when it comes up.
I don't know whether you heard Howard during the last break, Sam, but he confirmed there have been 28 Brazilian winners so far. Selwan could be number 29.
Yeah, absolutely unbelievable. Poker just so big in Brazil. So many talented players. And it's players like Selwan, Yuri, Seiji, Pabrit, this sort of culture of excellence, you know, passing down through the community, obviously. People inspired. I see so much on Instagram, you know, there's, you know, Instagram pages dedicated to poker in Brazil, hyping up the guys that are successful. And, you know, so many talented players and these guys' approach, their dedication to the game, their seriousness about their craft, really reaping rewards. How many UK winners, Hartigan?
I think 11 last time I checked.
Right.
UK was second on the country's leaderboard, but obviously some way behind.
Probably
Let me
loads
just double
of
check
Danes
that,
and
Sam. I don't want
Norwegians.
to give you false information. I'm not Howard Swains. I don't know this stuff off the top of my head.
Griff, we've lost the living room interior. Now we've just got this cold... What are you, in the spare bedroom here? Relegated to the...
I'm in the
outer
same
perimeter.
place. Maybe it was, maybe it was just angled a little more with the dresser before, not dresser, the library.
To me, it's like a red flag to the bull. To me, you're just saying, I've got a spare bedroom. Come visit. Come stay in my
You know I'm always saying that to you.
I'm going to
Anytime,
take it up on
buddy.
it, bro. Love that. Love that.
Okay, country's leaderboard for the benefit of Mr. Kite. For the benefit of Mr. Grafton, rather. Yeah, UK 11. So Brazil 28, UK 11.
Only 2.5 times as good as this, no problem. To be honest, their population is 6 or 7 times greater than ours, so I think it's reasonable. And look at this thin, again, not Voskov. Got to be a little bit careful with this, by the way. Obviously, we can see does have the best hand, but the 5 kicker, pretty redundant there. And putting in a lot of money with sort of medium strength holdings is, you know, not always going to work out well for you against these top guys. And Mulaka, considering now what ace 10 wants to do, obviously you want to sort of, elects to shove as the offsuit deuces, ace, as the offsuit aces tend to do. Very, very complex spot there, because of course you might want to raise 2.5x and encourage ace deuce off to shove on you, or a suited king. But obviously that's not the only outcome. Allows Selwan to flat in position with, you know, 8-7 suited and play well post. So it's balancing those two considerations you have to do with each and every hand on a final. And obviously Mulaka going to know these spots incredibly, incredibly well as one of the top players in the world.
Good opportunity for Mulaka here to get a reshove through for these 17.5 bigs.
So StatTrick's been doing some more research into the Latvian player at the final table, Voskob. Looks like this is someone who specializes in high-stakes Omaha.
Ah, really, really nice. Yeah, obviously you see this a lot of the Omaha guys coming to tournaments, and even if they're not quite as polished as some players, still succeed really well just because of their incredible poker brains.
Well, Voskob will go into this break second on the leaderboard. It is Celoan, 1991, who has the chip lead right now, 5 million. And it is MalakaStyle playing a sub-20 big blind stack, 1.9 million. 3 players remaining at this 25k super high roll-up final table, playing for a first prize of 440k. Just going to take a 5-minute break, then the players will return and will continue to play down to a winner. That first prize plus the scoop trophy. Let's get Joe Stapleton back into the mix. Let's bring out the quad box, ladies and gentlemen. And Joe, you referenced an hour ago that you've got all those poker tips that you've amassed over the last couple of years on post-it notes. We did reference that Sam is heading into day 2 of a 1K. I was hoping that we could use this break for you maybe to give Sam some of these completely out of context tips that might help him hold on to that big stack, make it to the final table, and win his second scoop title tonight.
Yep, I think this one might be from Sam himself. He might just need to be reminded of this.
Sure.
3-betting king-queen doesn't fold out any better hands.
Wow. Mind blown, that, by the way, from Joe Stapleton. That's absolutely awesome. That's why you flat the king-queen. You've got it there in one, Joe. That's absolutely a nugget, by the way. No, I was expecting him laughing at the technical language that poker pros mocking the poker community, but that was just on the nose. Good advice from Joe Stapleton.
Okay, wait, I do have one of those. It just says hand definition. Does that mean anything to you?
Wow.
Okay, moving on. Calling it off with ace-4 is objectively horrible.
Sure. That sounds like your own advice to yourself, though, because you objectively horrible is your phrase, right? It's like a I can't imagine Griff saying that.
That sounds more like me.
Yes.
That does sound like James. Okay, how about this one?
Yes.
Stop clicking the check call any box. Is that good advice?
Reasonable. Certainly on a 25k final.
Okay. The point is, Sam, are you listening to this, though? Are you going to make sure you don't do that in the 1K tonight?
Got it.
Good.
And finally, it just says fold 4s the second time. Agree or disagree?
I thought you were going to have 3s are better than 8s, which is
Has that one's gone missing, Joe? That was one of the best ones you ever had.
Don't
Joe,
run
I've got
into
one
trips.
Joe, I've got one
And
for you.
Go ahead.
Ducks fly together.
Ducks. Well, I don't have to write that one down because it comes up literally every time even a deuce appears on screen.
Yeah. Just a
I
single
can't believe
two.
we haven't got that. We haven't got ducks flying across the screen. I mean, it's a
Thank
while
you,
since we added.
Sam.
It's a while since we added any. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sam, because you have to depart, because you've got to go and play some poker rather than talk about some poker, do you want to make a bold prediction before you go? You've been watching these guys. We've got Celoan, we've got Voskob, we've got MalakaStyle. You can't base it on chip distribution because we've seen those chips move a fair few times. Do you want to try and predict the winner of this super high roller?
I'm going for my boy Selwan here. All 3 playing really well. And, you know, that extra information we've got about Voskob, that he's in fact an Omaha player. Credit to someone that can step into a different format at the highest level and, you know, put together an amazing run like this. But I'm going to go for my boy Selwan 1991, another title for Brazil, and another big win for one of the world's top up-and-comers.
Fantastic. Well, let's just run through the 3 players we do have remaining. Rodrigo Celoan 1991, Brazilian pro, $3.4 million in PokerStars earnings. And StatTrick did even make a note of the fact that he beat Sam Grafton heads up for that 25k title at EPT Prague in March. Did want did win rather one of our Big 20 Rewind events last year. Remember that tournament we had celebrating 2009, the year of Scoop? He won it for 123k. Voskov, Latvian, 450k in stars earnings. We've established he plays high stakes Omaha. Has only played 8 tournaments since 2017. And then we have Juan Pardo, MalakaStyle, playing from Andorra this evening. $3.9 million in live earnings. Hidden online results. Sam, thank you very much for spending this time with us, and good luck in the 1K tonight.
Thanks, guys. See you soon.
Thank you, Sam. But Griffin is going to hang around. Joe's going to stay in the mix as well, as we play down to a winner, 3-handed in this super high roller.
He's going to punt that stack.
Sam's going to punt it?
Yeah, I'm just kidding.
It's pretty impressive that he runs up a stack to begin with every time. I'll give him that. Now, is it just me? I kind of had one eye on this, Griffin, while you guys were doing that last level, and it seemed like at various points, everyone seemed like they were going to win, like each player.
Yes, it's been very, very fluid the way that the chips have moved around. Just when you think someone has a sort of stranglehold on first, something changes, and we've seen a lot of pretty aggressive play. We've spoken a bit about how each player willing to take sort of almost every spot to combat what they perceive as attacking moments. Some big blind 3-bets, some 4-bets with suited aces. So it's creating a lot of big pots, and even here right away we're just seeing very cheeky play from MalakaStyle on this flop, and now Voskov leading, drawing stone dead.
Yeah, drawing stone dead to a really awful internet outage. Mulaka gets aggro there on the turn, takes it down.
Milagro? Sure.
Milagro is a type of tequila, I think.
Oh, yeah.
Griffin, did you see the new She-Hulk trailer?
You know what? I had it loaded up on my phone in the YouTube app, and then I just continued living my life. Like, I forgot.
Good for you.
Wow.
I know.
I have not seen the trailer, but I have seen a plethora of people talking about the CGI in the trailer.
Yeah, the images didn't look great in the screen caps I saw, but I'm not passing judgment until I see the trailer.
Wow, you guys are misogynists.
Joe.
I haven't watched the Thor trailer either.
Wow, and you hate men.
Yeah.
I pretty much hate everyone, Joe, if that's not apparent. Oh, why not? Voskov
came 7.
with top pair here.
Oh my God, somebody in chat just wrote check your privilege. That's hilarious.
Oh, that's
that,
funny because that's
what's that from?
That's what Griffin said six
That's
years
you,
ago.
But you did that. You're the
said
check
that,
your
right?
privilege guy.
Oh,
that was
yeah,
your thing.
and no one's referenced that in the last 6 years.
When that guy was verbally abusing me, I remember now.
Yeah.
By the way, I got a great story about him coming up on the podcast tomorrow. You guys should tune in. Had a little encounter with Will Kassouf in Monaco that I can't wait to tell people about.
Hopefully it wasn't at the craps table.
It was not at the craps table. Some other things may have been getting palmed at the time.
Wow.
Ooh, baby.
Oh,
Voskov.
boy.
Now with 2 pair.
Just a single gutter?
Yes. If it is indeed always coming 7, then MalakaStyle would win this pot. But it might not get to the river with a bet of 150k from Voskov. Ooh.
That's not the gut shot. It seems like it, right? 8, 9, 10, Jack King. That feels like a straight.
But the board did just get straight here, and how comfortable are you with 2 pair here, Griffin?
You're very comfortable, but I think the question becomes, do you want to play this as a check for the kind of bluffs that Mulaka could have? A hand like King 9, you know, a 7x. I guess sometimes you're hoping that, you know, Malaka's river to Jack and will call a bet, but wouldn't Mulaka bet that for value anyway? So it might be more interesting to take a check line on the river to catch those bluffs and get Mulaka to value bet himself. Also, you know, based on the sizing, you might be able to check shove even for value with that 2 pair if you perceive Malaka's, you know, value bet as something like a jack.
So Mulaka has had pocket 10s a fair few times this evening, is a 4-1 favourite here.
How many times were they good?
Up against a pair of 5s on this occasion, and 10s have held.
No, Joe.
This feels like a straight also. This is weird.
Ace, 8, button raised, flattered by 6s, and it's an ace high flop. Diamonds are a factor though. Voskov with the 6 of diamonds in their hand. Salawan now a 3-1 favourite.
Pretty good price here for Voskov with that diamond in hand. Might think your opponent is just taking a stab too with, you know, could be anything. Could be Queen 10 of hearts.
Your opponent's got it, and they've just improved to the dead man's hand. Aces and 8s.
We got to watch that documentary.
Yeah. Oh my God. I heard about that doc. You told me about it last time. Sounds incredible.
Absolute klutz. Ooh, I'm in this.
I don't remember being in this documentary, but it must have been something I did.
And that's why it's so great. You are so drunk and so open in that documentary. It's incredible.
9-8 suited opens on the button. 10-7 off for Salawan, who has the chip lead right now.
So Sam called Salawan to win this one. I guess of the players that are here, Salawan's the one we're most familiar with, which isn't saying a lot.
I also think it's quite ironic that Salawan won that big celebration event last year, which was celebrating the year of Scoop, and now Salawan is in contention for an actual Scoop, and not just any Scoop, the Super High Roller.
Celebrate.
Salawan sounds like a type of Jedi.
Ace-9 opens on the button. King-Queen defends, and it is a king-high flop. There is a 9 for MalakaStyle.
It's actually the canon father of Obi-Wan, Joe.
Salawan.
Well, this just gets better for Salawan.
Still
has top pair, picks up the spade draw. Bet of 177,000. Are you calling here with a 9, Griffin?
Yes. Hands quite a bit too strong here based on the action. Your opponent certainly could have some kings, but going to have a lot of Broadway combos that are just straight draws here.
And is Silouan going to go for value on the river? We've got 892,000 in the middle. Makes it 669. And if this gets paid off, MalakaStyle is going to find himself in the danger zone.
Seen plenty of light river calls.
5 seconds left to make a decision.
Oh, so tough with the lack of time bank. Does make the call.
Calls it, and is left with 10 big blinds as Rodrigo Silouan increases his chip lead, playing more than 6 million now.
Malaka.
Style.
Raises the button with ace-7, ace-deuce for Juan Pardo.
And MalakaStyle with a decision here with just 10 big blinds. Going to expect the button chip lead to be raising pretty wide. Good discipline by finding a fold there. A lot of players might shove there or at least maybe call. Good dodge. The Spraggy was in play, James.
It was indeed. A walk there for Silouan in the big blind. And ace-10 on the button for MalakaStyle. Ace-10 of diamonds, king-queen offsuit for the chip leader in the small blind. You think this might be an all-in and a call, Griffin?
100%.
Keeping it 100.
Book it. I keep it 100 with this 8.6 bigs, king-queen.
Okay, so
Gotta play it.
MalakaStyle does get it in as a favorite. Ace high, the best hand, 62% equity. Holding. King on the river. And that will see MalakaStyle dispatched in third place, cashing out for 183.5k. And we are now heads up in this super high roller. Rodrigo Silouan has the chip advantage against Voskov from Latvia.
It seems like this super high roller may not keep us rocking all night.
Well, the 10k event we covered last Wednesday was done inside of 2 hours. So 20 minutes. Do you think this will go beyond the 20-minute mark?
I mean, it could, right? I mean, the 40 big blind effective stack is more than enough to play heads up. But based on everything else I've seen today, the chips are going in.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're not messing about.
Might get you home for dinner there, James. Out of the arena.
Well, I mean, Sam referenced earlier on that it was a very long bubble when they were at 7 players last night, playing to the official FT and playing into the money. But that said, we've seen so many eliminations. We've seen 4 players gone, and there are plenty of chips in play. This doesn't have to be over quickly. I mean, what are we playing now? 47 bigs effective?
Yeah, actually, a bit more than that is if we're still at 100k, right? They have about 105, 108 big blinds in play.
Sure, but
110?
the effective stack was Voskov at the start of this hand, who had just shy of 50 big blinds.
Yeah.
Griffin, I didn't learn what an effective stack was until like 2018. So don't be embarrassed. James would always...
Okay.
Let's hit it.
Now
Punch it.
Even Stevens.
James was always saying effective stack in our broadcast, and I was like, yeah, it's effective. I mean, it's effective enough.
Okay, got some straight draws here. Ace on the turn, and pair of 7 still good for Voskov.
Voskov betting for value really here and sort of
Ooh,
Yeah, I don't know if
Check
Voskov's
raising.
going to buy this.
with the gut shot.
You still have the potential to make, let's call it an effective nut straight. You know, the only other straight out there that could beat you would be a 6-8, which is, you know, I guess possible, but is going to make the call. But now you find yourself a third pair on the river. Papa Von Winkle asks, who is Steven and why is he always even? Stephen O'Dwyer, champion of the European Poker Tour. And,
But the expression "even Stevens" does not come from
Oh,
Steve
baby, look at
O'Dwyer. We
this.
just use him to illustrate the point as we get this incredible shove from Selawan. And I don't see how Voskov can call this, but if he does call, it's over, right? This is a call for the win.
this is a call for the win, but I would be very surprised if we see it made. I mean, you know, you do block 6-4. 2-4 is also a straight, and Voskov getting bluffed there and losing the chip lead.
Yeah, Selawan with the advantage once again.
The real Shalashashka. Easy call. You bad. Thank you for your comment.
Wow, and the raise and call for 9 big blinds from Selawan, feeling so comfortable about playing this kind of hand post-flop. SPR over just over 2-1. And looks like it's even Stevens.
Yeah, we've reached that point once again where the stacks are level.
Pretty good flop for Queen 9.
I would say.
It's not a terrible flop for King Trey with the King of Clubs.
Very good, Joe. Now, does Saloon
Talentless
take it as a
asks,
check
have
raise?
they dealt? Yes, there are cards on the table. They have been dealt.
They've dealt every single hand. Thank you for your question.
Selawan opens up the advantage again. Raises the button with King Deuce. Queen Jack for Voskov. And it is King High Flop. Nothing for Voskov to get excited about.
Well, I'm somewhat regretting saying that this could be quickly over now that they've evened out to 50 bigs playing 65.
This is a pretty deep or reasonably deep heads-up battle between two pretty solid players. The Grafton. 10-9 suited.
Ooh, baby.
Flops. A straight draw and a flush draw against a pair of fours. And it's still almost a flip on the turn.
Yeah, but Sluin's gonna come blasting on this turn, and I think it might be a price Voskov's not going to be willing to pay. So a big advantage with position, relative hand strength.
And the blinds are now up to 60,000, 120,000. Still a lot of play in this, though, as we see Voskov open with King 9. A 7-deuce defend from Selawan. Cheeky.
Yeah, maybe Saloon very comfortable playing post-flop with Voskov not really wanting to fold to any min raises. If you're calling 7-deuce, you're calling just about everything.
Well, Salawan holding on to the advantage for now, but Voskov chipping away over the course of the last few hands. Pair of eights ahead.
Who wants to rep this ace?
And a big bet gets the best hand to fold. Nice hand from Voskov.
Jack 8 raises, 7-5 offsuit.
Well, just a call.
Calls.
All right.
Salawan holding on to the chip advantage as this heads-up battle continues. This is the biggest buy-in event of Scoop 2022, the $25,000 buy-in super high roller. 47 entries, started with 6 players at the final table today, down to the final 2. Salawan, that is Rodrigo Salawan from Brazil against Voskov from Latvia. Salawan with the advantage right now, and still with the advantage post-flop. Top pair against second pair.
Can't blame Voskov for raise calling such a hand like Queen 7 suited heads up. Good enough to take a flop with. Maybe not a hand you want to make a habit of calling 3 bets, but the rules do shift when you get heads up.
Ace on the turn, trips for Salawan. Voskov may be feeling even more confident about their queen now, and this hand could put a lot of distance between them. It's been close. Even though Salawan's had the chip advantage, it's been really close. Maybe this is the hand that changes the dynamic.
Now, is it an ace on the desk only if it's on the flop, or if it's just on the board in general?
On the board in general.
General board, okay.
Also, it mostly applies to when the ace cracks a big hand of yours.
Yeah, close to a 2-1 chip advantage now for Rodrigo Salawan. Goes to the flop with ace-4 against 10-5, and ace-high still good.
Just kind of unfortunate for Voskov. It seems like Salawan's the only one making the hands.
Yeah.
Well, ace-high still good.
Yeah, and Voskov might see an opportunity to win this pot, represent maybe a river jack, does not, and is just going to lose to the ace-4 of clubs.
Now better than a 2-1 advantage for Rodrigo Salawan. King 7 versus Jack 4, and it's a pair of kings for Salawan, pair of 4s for Voskov, facing a bet of 168k with bottom pair, makes the call, does not improve on the turn.
I don't know what's worse, continuously missing every flop or continuously hitting bottom pair.
Oh, inconsequential Greenstein.
Going to be hard to get action from Jack here, high here on the river, but Salawan might almost surely go for it. Pardon me, that is 2 pair with the 4s.
It's not much better than Jack high.
No, it's really not. But and now under 20 big blinds, so we might get ourselves a winner sooner than we thought.
Yeah, it's
What
not
can you
looking
do
good
in
for
the-
Voskov.
You got to make a stand eventually. You got to call something. Can't always have it. Turns out they can.
And Voskov now in the danger zone.
Danger zone!
Ooh, they harmonized in everything.
We practiced before the show, actually.
Totally planned.
And yeah, under 20 big blinds, Voskov's going to play this as a limp. Is a
Gets
limp?
shoved.
Oh, it is!
And calls. We're racing for it all. 3s are holding, and 3s are good. That's a full house, and Rodrigo Salawan has done it. He's taken down the super high roller. The Brazilian pro takes the first prize of $440,493 and ships the Scoop Trophy. Envoskop 1986 from Latvia, the runner-up for just shy of 300k, and the 25k is in the books. Scoop 44 high completed, and it's another win for Brazil. That is at least their 29th title of the series. I don't know, between now and us talking to Howard an hour and a half ago, they may have won another one. Griffin, we pretty much beat last Wednesday's record. Another final table done inside of 2 hours.
Yeah, I mean, coming into this final table, just 6 remaining, not as many chips as we're used to seeing in play at like a full, 8-ring kind of final, and it was pretty fast and furious. It was all over the place. It wasn't like there was a clear big chip leader and maybe a couple fighting for chip leads. It was switching all over the place. Everyone playing extremely aggressively, extremely well, but also very untrusting of the other players, and it created some big pots, and Saloon comes out on top for another Brazilian champion.
Our next Scoop stream is going to be on Monday. You're with us for that one, right?
I believe so, yeah. Wouldn't miss it.
And Joe, we missed a Clash of the Titans on Monday because we focused on Finton's win, but it is a Titans event this coming Monday. It's a 5k PKO, so that's what we're going to be streaming next. But of course, you and I don't get a day off tomorrow. We are going to record a podcast, and as you advertised earlier, we'll recap Monte Carlo, and we'll have a mid-series update on Scoop. We'll hear from a couple of champs, and of course, we'll catch up with Howard.
I got Neymar stories, I got Will Kassouf stories, I got mom stories, and I just have one last pun I didn't get in. Celoan, more like cellophane, because he's got this wrapped up. Okay, good night, everybody.
Yeah, I think that's a good note to end it on. So podcast out on Friday, back with another stream on Monday at 6 p.m. UK time, 7 p.m. Central European time. But for now, from Sam Grafton, Griffin Benja, Joe Stapleton, and me, James Hartigan, it's good night from the PokerStars Arena.